This'll probably be the last video we make about Tesla's so-called affordable car, what we've been calling the Model 2. And honestly, there's a reason for that. Because at this point, there's almost nothing left to talk about, except why it never actually happened the way Elon Musk promised. But before we get into that, listen closely to what Elon said originally. Like I said, about 3 years from now, we're confident we can make a very, very compelling $25,000 electric vehicle. That one line changed everything. A $25,000 Tesla. It sounded like the future was finally getting affordable. And because of that promise, a lot of people did something very interesting. They waited. They skipped buying Model 3s. They held off on Model Ys, all for a car that was supposed to be cheaper and better. And the hype didn't stop there. When Elon Musk sat down with Sandy Munro, he doubled down on it, and that's when things really escalated. We obviously are working on a low-cost electric vehicle that will be made in very high volume. We're quite far advanced in that work. I review the production line plans for that every week. And then he added something even bigger, the revolution in manufacturing that will be represented by that car. At that point, this wasn't just another Tesla project. It sounded like a complete industry reset. But here's the strange part. All of that planning, all of that talk, all of that hype, and in the end, it just went nowhere. And that's hard to understand, especially when you look at what's happening in China right now, where affordable EVs are being produced at massive scale, almost effortlessly. So the real question becomes, how does a $25,000 Tesla just disappear? Why did Tesla walk away from something that sounded so inevitable? Because remember, Tesla's entire identity was built on scaling down cost over time, from the Roadster that cost over $200,000 to the Model 3 starting above $35,000. The goal was always the same: go cheaper, go bigger, go mass market. And in theory, the Model 2 was supposed to be the final step, because the opportunity was massive. In China, the world's largest EV market, companies like BYD and Wuling dominate the ultra-low-cost segment, with cars priced between $10,000 and $20,000. Tesla, without a cheaper model, risks getting completely boxed out. In Europe, the story is different, but just as important. Small streets, tight cities, hatchbacks everywhere. The Model 2 was supposed to be Tesla's entry point into places like France, Italy, and Germany. And in the US, a $25,000 Tesla plus the $7,500 federal tax credit would have dropped the effective price to around $17,500. For a Tesla, that's almost unreal. But that credit is now gone, and the Model 2 still nowhere to be seen. So what was it actually supposed to look like? Tesla never officially showed it, just a few vague sketches and financial presentations. But that didn't stop the internet from building its own version. Most expectations pointed to a compact C-segment hatchback, maybe even a small crossover, a smaller Model 3. Same minimalist design language, just compressed into a city-friendly form. Clean lines, short rear, strong aerodynamics, classic Tesla wheels. Inside, it was expected to stay brutally simple. Very similar driving setup to the Model 3 and Model Y, just stripped down even further. And under the surface, things got even more interesting. Rumors pointed to LFP batteries to reduce cost, and a smaller pack, around 54 kilowatt hours, still delivering roughly 250 to 300 miles of range. How? Through weight reduction and efficiency. That's what made people believe this wasn't just a cheap car, it was a smart cheap car. And for a while, it worked. Some people literally delayed buying new cars in 2024 and 2025, just waiting for it, because Tesla's brand power is that strong. The Model 2 became a phenomenon even without existing, and at that point, nothing suggested Tesla would abandon it. No clear limitations, no obvious roadblocks. In fact, around the same time, Elon Musk was talking about something even more radical, a completely new way of building cars. A production system unlike anything the industry had seen. a system where manufacturing looked less like an assembly line and more like building with Lego. This is what Tesla called the unboxed manufacturing method. Instead of a single linear production line, the car is split into major modules: front, rear, floor, battery pack, body sections, seats, all built separately in parallel. Then everything comes together at the final stage. And the Model 2 was supposed to be the biggest winner of this system. According to Musk, it could reduce production costs by up to 50%, shrink factory size by around 40%, and massively increase output. And on top of that, with technologies like the Gigapress, final assembly could become extremely fast, almost like the car snaps together in seconds. But even with all of that, the Model 2 still never arrived. All of that made the Model 2 feel like it was basically right around the corner, and that expectation created massive pressure. Customers were waiting, investors were waiting, and the entire industry was watching. Then the questions started stacking up. When is the Model 2 coming? Why hasn't Tesla built it yet? Is Tesla falling behind in the affordable EV race? And that's where things start to get complicated, because in early 2024, everything changed. A Reuters report sent shockwaves through the industry, claiming Tesla had canceled the Model 2 entirely. Elon Musk immediately pushed back on X, saying Reuters is lying. But after that, something interesting happened, because what started showing up in Giga Texas activity and later in Tesla's financial reports told a different story. The affordable, everyday EV project was no longer the priority. It had been pushed aside. So the real question is simple. Why? Why walk away from a $25,000 Tesla? There are at least three major reasons. First, Tesla is not a charity. It's a publicly traded company under constant pressure to deliver profits, and those profits are already extremely high. Tesla's margins have historically been around 20 to 25% per vehicle, while most traditional automakers operate closer to 5 to 8%. Now think about what that means. A $25,000 car completely changes the math. Even if battery costs keep dropping, materials like steel, aluminum, semiconductors, and labor don't. And to make a car that cheap and still profitable, Tesla would need to cut costs to the absolute limit. That's where the unboxed manufacturing idea comes in. But here's the problem. It's still not fully proven at scale. It's a brand new production system, and with any new system, early errors are unavoidable. Now, the second reason is even more strategic: cannibalization. And this is where things get uncomfortable. Because if Tesla launches a great $25,000 car, what happens to the Model 3 or even entry-level Model Y sales? Tesla doesn't just think about selling cars, they think about which cars make the most money. And in many cases, they'd rather sell fewer vehicles with high margins than flood the market with low-margin volume. Because they've already seen what happens elsewhere. Chinese EV makers are selling huge numbers, but with extremely thin profit margins. And that leads directly to a hard reality. In the affordable EV segment, Tesla is already behind China. Cars like the BYD Seagull and Wuling Bingo aren't just cheap anymore. They're improving fast in quality too. And that forces a difficult realization. If Tesla competes only on price, they might lose the race entirely, even in their own market. That's why Elon Musk once said, frankly, if there are not trade barriers established, they will pretty much demolish most other car companies in the world. They are extremely good. Because Chinese automakers have structural advantages: battery supply chains, manufacturing scale, labor costs. Trying to beat that with a $25,000 US-made car competing against $12,000 Chinese cars is not a fair fight. So instead of entering a price war, Tesla chose a different direction entirely. And this is the most important shift. By 2025, Elon Musk had changed priorities. He told his teams, focus everything on robotaxi, because the logic is very different.
Why sell a $25,000 car once when you can deploy a self-driving vehicle that earns money every single day? A privately owned Model 2 would sit idle most of the time, but a robotaxi could operate 24/7, earning revenue per mile constantly. And that's when everything starts to click. The Model 2 wasn't exactly canceled, it was absorbed. A lot of its early engineering work, chassis concepts, design direction, battery planning, got redirected into the Cybercab and robotaxi program. Tesla is no longer betting on cheap car ownership. They're betting on cheap autonomous mobility, a world where you don't own the car, you just use it when you need it. And that explains why the $25,000 car with steering wheel and pedals was replaced by something with neither. Inside, everything is controlled through a massive 21-inch central touchscreen. No clutter, no traditional controls, just a fully digital interface. Although they did keep one small change, a physical door button, combining electronic latching with mechanical backup for both convenience and emergency safety. And while all of this was happening, Tesla's real-world numbers were still moving. Q1 is now wrapped up. Tesla delivered 358,023 vehicles. That's up slightly, about 6% year-over-year, from 336,681, but down roughly 14% from Q4 2025. And it also came in a bit below expectations, which were in the range of 365,000 to 370,000. And that leaves one final question hanging. Was this shift actually the right move? On top of that, Tesla actually produced over 50,000 more vehicles than it delivered. Now, on the surface, that doesn't look particularly impressive, especially when you factor in what the EV market is dealing with right now. Intense competition from Chinese automakers, reduced tax incentives in the US, and softer consumer demand overall. But strangely enough, this kind of slower, steadier performance actually reveals something much bigger: Elon Musk's long-term vision. Because he said it many times, Tesla's future value is not just about cars, it's about self-driving technology, artificial intelligence, and humanoid robots like Optimus. In fact, Musk has suggested something even more extreme, that up to 80% of Tesla's future value could eventually come from Optimus alone, with cars becoming just one piece of a much larger system. And the Q1 2026 data seems to reflect that shift. The traditional car business is clearly slowing down. 2 straight years of declining annual sales is a major signal. So instead of pushing harder for pure volume, Tesla is changing direction, and we're already seeing it happen. The company has officially stopped taking new orders for the Model S and Model X. And even more importantly, factory space is being reallocated toward Optimus production at Fremont. What used to build flagship sedans is now being converted into a robot production line, with a long-term goal of producing up to 1 million robots per year from a single facility. Now, critics have long accused Musk of overpromising or drifting away from the core car business, especially when growth started slowing. But this quarter paints a different picture. Maybe he wasn't reacting too late. Maybe he was thinking too far ahead. Because the reality is becoming clearer every day. The global EV market is saturating. Competition is shifting into price wars, and profit margins are getting thinner across the entire industry. Meanwhile, AI and robotics are opening completely new value pools, much larger than the automotive market alone. Even Tesla's slight inventory increase fits into this strategy. They aren't aggressively discounting to clear stock. They're maintaining production while positioning for a bigger transition. And despite all of that uncertainty, there are still strong positives in the data. Tesla added around 2,500 new supercharger stations in just one quarter. That's up about 19% year over year. Even more impressive, energy usage is climbing fast. Tesla delivered around 1.8 terawatt-hours of energy this quarter. That's a 22% increase compared to last year. And that energy usage has real-world impact. It translates to roughly 823 million liters of gasoline saved and about 3.4 billion kilograms of CO2 emissions avoided. But not all news this quarter was about growth or technology. A separate geopolitical development also put Tesla in an unusual spotlight. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps released a list of 18 American companies claiming they could become targets in the Middle East, and Tesla was included, alongside major names like Cisco, HP, Intel, Oracle, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, IBM, NVIDIA, Palantir, Boeing, and others. The group publicly labeled these companies as legitimate targets and even specified a timeline, stating actions could begin at 8 p.m. on April 1st. They also advised employees of these companies to leave their workplaces and urged civilians to stay at least 1 kilometer away from any related facilities. What makes Tesla stand out here is that unlike tech giants focused on data or defense-adjacent systems, Tesla is primarily an EV company, but its physical footprint changes the equation. Showrooms, service centers, supercharger stations, highly visible, highly accessible, highly exposed. Across the Gulf region alone, Tesla has built a noticeable presence, with multiple showrooms, service centers, and more than 30 supercharger stations in countries like the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. Many of these are located in busy public spaces, shopping malls, major highways, dense urban areas, which means any potential escalation could turn infrastructure into high-visibility risk points. Beyond security concerns, there's also a business impact. Earlier, in response to rising tensions, Tesla activated free supercharging across parts of the region, including the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. A customer-friendly move, but also a clear signal of how unstable the situation has become. And that highlights something bigger. Tesla is no longer just a car company operating in isolation. It's now part of a global system where technology, infrastructure, and geopolitics are increasingly intertwined. Iran's accusations against U.S. companies, including Tesla, also reflect this blurred line, where even commercial EV networks can be interpreted through a geopolitical lens. Fair or not, that's the reality Tesla is operating in. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. So now the question is simple. Did Tesla make the right decision by canceling the Model 2? And more importantly, would you feel safe riding in a fully autonomous car with no steering wheel and no pedals? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you in the next one. Stay curious and keep exploring the future of tech and mobility.